Shalom, 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 Israel. Right, Lamar coming back at you another lesson through the spirit and power of YAHAWASHI. Right, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bashem, Yahawashi, Bashem, Bukakadash. Right, it's gonna be a quick lesson. Right, and it's gonna be a message out there. You know, everybody must get in order, man. Right, it's including me, including you know, it's for everybody, man, including myself. Right, you gotta, you know, men need to be men, right? And women need to be women, man, right? Women need to stay in their place, right? And men need to lead their households in order, man, right? A lot of these stuff, you know, a lot of stuff these women be doing, man, is because you brothers ain't got your household in order, right? You brothers not in order, right? A woman supposed to be under a righteous head, man, right? Whether it be an elder, right, or whether it be, you know, a husband. But a woman must have a head over her, man. All right, let's bring it out. Let's be 1 Corinthians. The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11, verse 3. But it said, I will have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach, right? So the head of every man is Hamashiach. That's our head, right? Hamashiach is not the head of a woman, man, right? A woman can't just jump over her head and go to Hamashiach Yahawashi, right? A woman has to go through her head. We have to go through Yahawashi, right? And then Yahawashi goes straight to Yahawah. It's a hierarchy. It's an order, right? A woman can't pass a man and go straight to the Most High, man. That's not in order, right? But I will have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, right? The head of the woman is the man, right? The man is the one that's supposed to lead and call the shots, right? But flip it, we in America, right? You got women ruling the household. You got women being independent, right? Walking around all lavish and doing whatever the hell they want, right? That's not where YAHAWASHI supposed to have it. Women are supposed to be keepers at home, right? Women not even supposed to be seen, man. They're supposed to be in the background, right? In the head of Hamashiach is Yahawah, right? So the head of Hamashiach is Yahawah, right? So this is the divine order. This is the hierarchy that Yahawah has put in place, right? Let's get the book of 2nd Esdras. Right, it's the book of 2nd Esdras. Bear with me 1 second. Make sure I'm loud. It's the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 14, verse 13, right? And it reads, Now therefore set thy house in order, right? And reprove thy people, comfort such as them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption, right? So as men in this present day, man, we're supposed to be getting our house in order, right? Now Esdras said this 1,000 years ago, right? And it was at the end then. We even closer to the end, as Romans the 13th chapter say, right? So we supposed to get our house in order, get our woman in order, have our children in order, so that we can get lead, right? So we can lead our household to salvation, right? Let's read that again. Now therefore set thy house in order, and reprove thy people, comfort such as them as be in trouble, and renounce corruption. Let go from thee mortal thoughts, right? What's the mortal thoughts? The mortal thoughts is things of this world, right? Chasing the bag, trying to get rich, right? Worrying about bills, worrying about all this shit that don't matter at the end of the day, right? Because let's go to 2 Timothy. All right, it's the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 2, verse 4. It say, No man that warreth entangle himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him that have chosen him to be a soldier, right? We are soldiers of Hamashiach Yahawashi, right? So we should be doing everything we can to please Hamashiach YAHAWASHI and please Yahweh, man. Right? That's why I say this. This is 2 Timothy 4 and 5. But watch thou in all things, endure affliction, and do the work of evangelists. It say, make full proof of thy ministry. Right? So we constantly making full proof of our ministry. But the thing is, let go of mortal thoughts, right? And don't fear with the things of this life. Right? Let's read 2 Corinthians 14:14 again. It say, let go from thee mortal thoughts, right? The things of the flesh, right? Cast away the burdens of men and put off now the weak nature, right? What is that saying? Hey, man, stop being a weak-ass nigga, man, right? And I'm going to say how it is. It's a lot of weak niggas, right? It's a lot of men that don't hold women accountable. How you expect to be leaders, and you don't even hold your damn woman accountable for what she do, right? I done seen it countless times. There's a lot of weak niggas in this truth, man. I'm going to read it again. It said, let go from thee mortal thoughts. Cast away the burdens of men. Put off now the weak nature. Right? And it says, set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. Right? So it should be greater evils, right? We still haven't hit Jacob's trouble yet, and Jake already fainting. Right? So a lot of things that go on in the nation is because you niggas don't know how to fucking judge, man. Right? And like I said, I'm gonna say how it is. Y'all don't know how to judge. Y'all don't go according to the law. Right? Y'all don't go according to the law, y'all about Shem Yahushua. Y'all go according to your own feelings, man. Right? And a lot of you niggas is biased too, man. Right? A lot of you niggas is biased. All right, but going back to 1 Corinthians 11. Right, 1 Corinthians chapter 11. Once again, verse 3. And this is adding it. Right? You gotta do the divine order, man. No woman should be jumping over her man for anything. Right? It's 1 Corinthians 11 and 3. It said, but I will have you know that the head of every man is a Mashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Hamashiach is Yahweh. So you got Yahweh, YAHAWASHI, man, woman, and children. Right? So that's how how it's supposed to go. Right? So it ain't oh yeah, she can follow Christ. She can do this, she can do that. And a woman need a head, man. Right? A woman needs a head. You see what happened to Eve in the garden, man, when her head wasn't there. Women are prone to go the hell off, man. Right? You see how they is now, all independent, got all this liberty, right? Let's go to Sirach 25. Might be Sirach 26, bear with me. Right, here we go. All right, this is Sirach 26 and 24. It say, of the woman became the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. Give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. And what did America do? America gave a wicked woman to gad abroad. Right? And then demasculated our men, made our men all weak and feeble. Now Jake can't even rebuke his woman. Right? You can't even say nothing to your woman. Right? You can't even hold your woman accountable. Right? Next thing you know, she calling the damn police on you, and you in jail. Right? So that all goes in play of how wicked the system is, wicked this world is, man. Right? Men are not the rulers of this world. Right? The woman is ruling. This is the woman's kingdom. That's why the scriptures say in Isaiah the 32nd chapter, right? He's going to strip these women and make them bare, right? Because they are at ease, right? And we're going to bring that out after this, right? And it said, if she go not as thou wouldest have her, cut her off from thy flesh and give her the bill of divorce and let her go, right? So the woman not doing what you wanted to do. She not being obedient, right? You told her to do something, she bucking up. hey, man, cut her ass loose, man. Right? That's the majority of these women. It's sad to say, right? But like I said, it's a lot of weak men too, right? And I'm not just going to just get on the woman. I'm going to get on the men too. A lot of you men, bro, y'all, man, y'all got it all wrong, man. Y'all need to get it together too. Y'all need to go according to the law. Go according to the scriptures, man. Y'all not going according to the scriptures, right? You're getting that little damn lovey-dovey phase, and you don't even want to get on your woman. She causing problems within the camp, and you don't even want to get on her, man. You know? That's how it go. That's why I always say a woman should be nowhere near a ministry, man. The woman need to stay out of the ministry, right? The ministry should be strictly on doing the work, waking up the elect, waking up the sheep, right? A woman should not be a part of the ministry unless she's aiding, she's helping, right? She's supporting the ministry. But her being in the front line, her being seen, no. That's how a lot of camps, a lot of ministry fall down. How you think the original One West got broke down? They had women all in the congregation, sleeping around, and hey, man, I'm telling you, right? So, the divine order, man, we know the divine order. All right, now let's go to Sirach 27. The book of Sirach, chapter 27, verse 3. It said, unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of Yahawah, his house should be soon overthrown. Now, if a man's house, and it's not always the case, but some majority of the time, a man's household falls, it's because he's not doing what he's supposed to do. You know? That's why I said we have to make sure that we are in order, so our woman can see that example, and they get in order, right? If we in order, the woman in order. If the woman in order, the children gonna be in order. That's how it goes, man. Right? So it's very, very important to get your household in order. It's very, very important to hold your woman accountable. Hold everybody accountable. If somebody is sinning, man, hey, you rebuke them, right? That's a law. Right? It's Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17, right? And it say, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart, and thou shalt not in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him, right? You're not supposed to suffer sin upon your neighbor, man, right? If your brother, right, your sister going off, man, you're supposed to rebuke him, right? It's 1 Timothy. Let's go to 1 Timothy. Right. This is 1 Timothy chapter 5. 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 20. It say, them that sin rebuke before all, right? That others may also fear. Right? So when you rebuke him, man, and you got to rebuke him for all. Right? Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1. Right? That everybody that see you may also fear. Right? It's all about fearing Yahawah, right? Let's go to 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 11, right? And it say, knowing therefore the terror of Yahawah, we persuade men, but we are made manifest unto Yahawah, and I trust also are made manifest in your conscience, right? So we go on the highways and byways, man. We rebuke our brothers and sisters, man. Right? That's rebuking before all that also may fear, right? We do this to teach the fear of Yahawah. And we telling you this is how the Most High is. The Most High, he brings terror. He's the king of terror, right? And if you don't get right, this is going to happen to you, right? That's what we do, right? So what the men need to be doing is getting the household in order. What the woman need to be doing, they need to follow order, right? Follow the orders of whether you got a certain group of men over you. You might be in a congregation, right? You might have the leadership over you, right? Or you might have a husband, right? Your job is to follow your husband, man. Let him lead you, right, in righteousness, right? And you're supposed to stay behind the scenes, right? It's not about you, right? It's not even about the men. It's about YAHAWASHI and the elect, right? It's not about you. A woman supposed to stay in the background doing her role, right? It's not about you. This truth is not about men. It's about Yahawah, Bashem, YAHAWASHI, and his elect and their deliverance. So once again, get in order, right? And how you get in order? By keeping the law, statute, and commandments and the faith in Yahawah, Bashem, YAHAWASHI, right? This ain't got to be a long video. I ain't got to go on 13,000 precepts. I don't have to do that. It's a rebuke to me. It's a rebuke to everybody that's out of order, man. Right? We didn't have our time to fuck up and do what we do. Now it's time to get right as we get closer and closer to the end. Right? Let's get the book of Acts. And that's why things are not going smoothly, because everybody out of order, man. Nobody want to follow order. Nobody want to get in order. When I say order, I mean the law, statute, and commandments. Not something that you tell me to do. Like a lot of you niggas be doing, man. Y'all put burdens on brothers. Tell brothers to do impossible shit, right? They want brothers to do all these things. You know what I'm saying? And I'm never gonna tell a grown ass man to do certain stuff. And I know this man got a family. He gotta lead his own household. You know? Even though this truth, you know, always to magnify the name of Yahweh Shah. But at the end of the day, some of you brothers, man, y'all be extreme, man. Y'all don't be understanding, right? This is the book of Acts, chapter 17, verse 30. It say, in the time of this ignorance, Yahawah winked at, right? So at the time of our ignorances, hey, the Most High is winking at that, right? He's giving us a pass, right? But it say, but now commandeth all men everywhere to repent, because he have appointed a day in which he will judge the world in righteousness by that man who he have ordained. Who's that man he ordained? YAHAWASHI, man. Right? Wherefore he have given assurance unto all men, right? The Israelites is not talking about actually all men, and that he have raised him from the dead, right? So the Most High has called all men, all the Israelites, to repent, right? Because he's going to judge the world, right, in righteousness by who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, right? He's going to come back and destroy this damn place, man. And I don't want to be an enemy. I don't want to be an enemy of the Lord in that day, right? I don't want to be an enemy of the Lord that day, right? So, man, if you're not holding yourself diligently in the fear of the Lord, which is the law, statute, and commandments, hey, your house is going to be soon overthrown, right? You're going to leave place into Satan, man. All right, let's go to Ephesians 4 and 27, right? Because when you're not holding yourself in the fear of the Lord, you're gonna be gaps for Satan to come in. Now, Satan is attacking your marriage, right? You and your wife arguing all goddamn day. That's how it go, man. All right. This is Ephesians chapter 4, verse 27. It say, neither give place to the devil, right? And what precept you can pull with that? 1 Peter chapter 5, right, and verse number 8. It said, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking who he may devour. Right, and it's double fold. There's a spiritual aspect to it, and there's a physical aspect to it. Who's the physical? Esau, Edom. Right? And what's the spiritual? Actually, the spiritual demon, Satan. Right? So this is Ephesians chapter 4, verse 27. It say, neither give place to the devil, let him that stole steal no more, but rather let him labor, working with his hands the thing which is good, right, which is the laws, that he may give to them that needed it, right? So we got to get our households in order and do what we need to do, right? So book of Romans, right? Romans chapter 13 and verse 11, it say, and that knowing the time that is now, it is a high time to awake out of sleep, For now is our salvation nearer than what we believe, right? So our salvation is nearer than what we believe, right? We so close to getting up out of here, right? And we still making mistakes, man. Right? We understand we gonna make mistakes in this body, but the time to stop, the time for willfully sinning needs to stop, man. Hebrews 10:26, right? Those that despise Moses' law were destroyed, right, with 2 or 3 witnesses. Right? Let's bring that up. I'm gonna get a couple more and I'm gonna close out. All right, so with the Hebrews chapter 10 and verse number 26, it said, "For if we willfully sin after we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins." Right? So if we willfully sinning, man, right, it's like putting Hamashiach YAHAWASHI back up on the cross. Right? So you know something is a sin and you do it, you willfully sinning, man. Right? Then at that point in time, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins. Right? Verse 28. Right? It said, "He that despised Moses' law died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses. Of how much sore punishment suppose ye shall be thought worthy, who have trodden underfoot the Son of the Most High, and have counted the blood of the covenant, whereas he was sanctified in a holy thing, and have done despite into the Holy Spirit of grace." Right? So that's like putting the Most High Son, Yahawashi, back up on the cross at fresh. Right? And it say, "For we know that he have said," right? For we know him that have said, "Vengeance belonging to me, I will recompense," saith Yahawah. And again, Yahawah shall judge his people. Right? And it say, "It is a fearful thing to fall in the hands of Yahweh by Shem Yahushua." Right? And I pray we don't have to see that day, man. I pray that Yahweh by Shem Yahushua have mercy upon us, man. Right? Let's get 1 Kings, right, for the men. Right? You gotta stand up and be a man in your own house, man. You can't rule your house. How can you rule the church of the Most High? Right? We're gonna bring that out too, right? This is 1 Kings chapter 2, verse 1. It say, "Now the days of David drew nigh, that he should die, and he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man." Right? So as a brother in the truth, you got to go forth and show yourself a man. Right? This is a commandment that David gave his son Solomon. Right? And it say, "And keep the charge of Yahawah," right? "To walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments and his judgments and his testimonies, that is written in the law of Moses," which we also go get, "that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest, whether thou turnest thyself." Right? So what law is David quoting? Let's get it. It's Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse number 12. It say, "And now Israel, what doeth the Lord thy God, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy God, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve Yahweh thy power, and with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, to keep the commandments of Yahweh and his statutes which I command thee this day for thy good." That's how we prosper. That's how we get things in order as a nation, right? We have to practice, study, and do the law, statute, commandments. While doing that, we have to keep the faith, right? Because we know the blood of Yahawashi is ultimately, that's what saves us, right? That's what sanctifies us, right? So we got to show ourselves to be a man, right? And women, you have to follow your husband. You have to let him rule over you, man. That's also a commandment, right? For the woman that say, well, 1 Corinthians ain't the law. 1 Corinthians ain't the law. What was Paul quoting? Paul was quoting the law. He was quoting Genesis 3:16, and he was quoting Numbers the 30th chapter. Right? You women got to understand, man. You can't even make an oath to Yahweh Shem Yahushua without your husband. Right? Genesis chapter 3, verse 16, it say, and to the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception, and sorrow shall thou bring forth children, right? That's why women get postpartum, right? And birth pains, right? That's a curse. And thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee, right? Meaning you have to be under subjection, right? You women say, well, I'm not a servant. You are a servant. You are a servant to your head. You are a servant to your husband. Yes, you are. Y'all are not on the same level, right? You can't just come past him and jump over him and go straight to YAHAWASHI. That's not how it goes, man. You're supposed to put your husband first, right? And your husband supposed to put YAHAWASHI first. That's how it go. You are here. You were created to serve your husband, man. We were created to serve YAHAWASHI. And your salvation is through your husband, man. Right? That's your head. That's who leading you to YAHAWASHI. Right? Just like we got a mediator, right? And we got a head that we have to follow. And who he leading us to? Yahawah. Everybody has a middleman. Right? Everybody has a middleman, right? And you also can go into Numbers 30th chapter. Right? But that's a lesson for another day. But I'm gonna bring out this closing precept. Right, you men and women need to get in order. All right, it's the book of 1 Peter, chapter 4, and verse number 17. It says, for the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of Yahawah. And if it first begin in us, well, shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of the Most High, right? So judgment should start at the house of Israel, right? The judgment is going to start, right? And what this goes back to? This goes back to Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4. Let's bring it out. Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4, it say, and Yahawah said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of men that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof, right? This is the elect, right? This is the elect men, right? That's crying and sighing, that's praying, that's lifting up their voices, that's singing the same song, right? They crying, man. They ready to get the hell up out of here. And to the others he said in my hearing, go ye after him through the city, and smite, let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay other old and young, both maids and little children and women. But come not near any man upon who is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they begin at the ancient man which were before the house, right? So judgment should start at the house of Israel, man, right? Let me get this closing precept. Let's go to the book of 2 Chronicles to close this out, man. We got to have more fear for Yahweh by Shemi Yahushua. The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 15, and verse number 13. All right. Let's start at verse 12, right? This 2 Chronicles 15 and 12. And it say, and they entered into a covenant to seek Yahawah, right, of their fathers with all their heart and with all their soul, that whosoever will not seek Yahawah, power of Israel, should be put to death, whether small or great, whether man or woman. It's that simple, right? If you don't want to get in order in these last days, you don't want to be a man, you don't want to be a woman, right? You don't want to seek after Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, your ass going to be put to death, man. Right? Shalom.